Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the Rusty Toolbox. Today's episode, we are working on the 1998 BMW 540i, replacing the camshaft position sensor. Wish me luck. We took the old sensor out. It seems okay, but these sensors, it's all going on in there. So we got a new O-ring. We'll get some oil on that O-ring and install the new one. Pretty simple, actually. Okay, new camshaft position sensor is installed. Let's see if it'll focus down there. There it is. Comes all the way up. The new plug and a new clip, which is great. So that's in there nice and tight, nice and new. With the whole air intake system reinstalled and buttoned up. Just need to finish clipping in all the clips, the plugs, and we're going to start the car and see if it clears the engine code. First start after the repair, we got the new camshaft position sensor, and I actually changed the bulb in the back. Maybe that'll help the license plate. I don't know if it's part of the same circuit, but we'll see. Fasten seatbelt. We'll do that. Oh, no. Alright, as I was sitting here, it eventually just turned off. So that's great. Now, just got to figure out what's going on with the license plate light. It's a bit frustrating, but we will work it out. So we will work it out. We will work it out. So I drove the car a little bit, let it idle for quite a while. No hesitations, very smooth. Feels really good. No check engine light, so that's great. There's a short back in the back with the license plate lights. It's also affecting the trunk light, like when you open the trunk, the little light that's inside there. So I'm gonna have to do some electrical digging. I'm not really in the mood right now, but the camshaft position sensor is all done, and I'm excited about that. Well, here's an interesting development. So I'm driving down the road and noticing my fan is staying on, and it's actually revving up with my engine, so it's going really loud. Almost home, and about to pull into my road, and there's an explosion under my hood. Seems the fan decided to detonate and blow up underneath the hood. So let's look and see if we can find any good news. Good news? I was already almost home, so I didn't have to drive very long without a fan. Good news also, looks like it didn't destroy anything on the motor itself. There was no check engine light or anything, so I don't think it messed up with any of the electronics. So that's good. Let's see. All the belts seem to be intact. Let's see. Bad news. Obviously, it just ripped through coolant line, so I did end up spraying coolant all over. It tore through the insulation here and put a nice big dent and actually pierced the hood right there. That sucks. So I'll probably be tearing out this insulation, and looks like I'll have some body work to do. Some that's gonna be a project. But I guess the good news out of all this is the only things that are damaged beside the hood are obviously the fan is just toast, so I will need a new fan and a new shroud. I was freaked out that it put a hole in the radiator, but I don't see any damage to the radiator itself. So that's some good news. Maybe, I mean, it might even give us a chance to go to something like an electronic fan. But yeah, that's kind of a bummer. That was kind of a crappy way to come home. All the other hoses and lines and electrical seem okay. So that's at least a little bit of good news. So I'll take off this coolant line here. That'll obviously need replacing since it's torn up. I'm going to take off this underhood insulation, clean up a little bit around here, spray it down. Bummer, but not fatal. And it looks like there was no damage to the actual engine, either internally or externally. So it could have been a lot worse. Still a weird thing. All right, I got the engine compartment cleaned out, basically. I sprayed some degreaser on there because I'm going to clean it while I'm at it. So looks like this secondary air box got cracked in half in the bottom. I relocated the evap tank, like the overflow tank, right here up above. Ooh, crap! What is that? I think that might be like a temperature. External temperature, maybe? Ooh, that's not good. Okay, I'll figure out what that is. I'm gonna get an electric fan kit, so I'll get a fan that goes here, just right on the radiator, that connects to the radiator itself and just turns on automatically. Get rid of this old clutch-driven fan, since they just seem to have a habit of detonating. Obviously, I'm gonna get a new coolant tube. Whew, what an afternoon. Okay. The engine bay, oy, that. All right, the engine bay is all cleared out. We are going to eventually spray it all down, but so found out some cool stuff. You can plug. Where did that go? Here it is. So you can plug this hose, this port up, because it just goes to like that resonator box, that one that got all exploded. All this does is create a chamber for the noise, for the sound, because when the air goes in, it's going to also circulate and kind of come back out. Most cars have these. As you can see, it's just a box, and it basically traps the intake noise. So basically, I'm going to be doing a modification to make the car a slight bit noisier with the intake, which is kind of what I want anyway. Got a new coolant line, one that's not shredded to bits. Got an electric fan, got a fan controller. So we're going to be taking off the clutch in the fan, and we're going to be doing an electric fan conversion. So the bad news turned out to be semi-decent news. Should be able to get everything back to spec in no time. Okay, obviously the fan and the clutch are off. I could eventually get a nut for that to cover it up, but yeah, it's fine. I've got the electric fan mounted here. It should be in a pretty decent spot, allow for a lot of cooling. And it'll also allow me to run the electrical over to this side here. Now the trick is going to be finding power. Constant power, which shouldn't be too big of a deal. So I can install the temperature, like the fan controller, basically. So once we do that, then we'll be good. We'll just reinstall the air box and the connecting tube there, and then we'll start it, and we'll fill it up with coolant and then start it. Okay, I've been, excuse the mess, I've been digging around here. I finally got everything hooked up and got the fan controller all set. Ran the positive, and I've just been trying desperately to find a switched 12-volt source underneath the passenger cabin air filter housing. Is the box that has a bunch of the relays and electrical and stuff like that. Over here, you see a green wire with a white stripe. That is a switched power source right there. So I ran it into there, turned the key on, fan turns on, turn the key off, no more fan. Perfect. Now I just got to put everything back together and we'll have an electrical fan. Holy cow, that was a long day. Well, we still have to figure out what we're gonna do about the big gouge in the hood. But good news is electrical fan is in. It works great. 2200 CFM. You should, when I turn the key, hear the fan go on. More fan. Great. So, I mean, a lot of guys do this anyway, just because. One nice part is it frees up the motor to do, other stuff. Gives it a little more beef. But, whew, what a day. This coolant hose fixed. Got this line all plugged up on the bottom. Normally, what you want to do is, well, you just plug it up. Everything else is good. Wow. Yeah, like I said, crazy day. I'm gonna let this battery charge overnight. Yeah, it's been on and draining, and the car won't start at this point. But, wow. Well, I was wondering why the license plate lights weren't working. Surprised anything's working back here. Yeah, from what I've read, this, just like from the factory, this harness isn't quite long enough, and it just gets chopped up in by opening and closing, the trunk lid 100 times. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to match up these wires. I can see there's two grounds, the brown there, those are grounds. I've got 2 gray wires and a red and yellow, so I should be able to match these up pretty quickly and hopefully get this thing working. Boom! There we go, simple as pie. Now, hopefully, we turn on the key, those lights should work. I guess the epoxy didn't quite hold up to the heat. Well, sorry I didn't film a lot of this. It's kind of just boring, hammering in those dents, filling everything in, and then putting a small layer of glazing putty that Bondo on there. So while that sets, gets ready for sand, show you in here. Got this repaired after it burst. Just got basically some JB weld, some cement type stuff. A couple tries with different adhesives just wasn't working, so ended up essentially just basically making a whole new bottleneck right here where the existing one was, essentially making a shell around it. It connects also with some, you can see some of the red silicone. It feels really solid. I'm gonna let it cure, obviously, for like 24 hours. And I filled it up, so everything should be under here. Should be good. We got the battery tender going. So I finally got the license plate lights figured out. I got the electrical done last night, but then one of the bulbs fell out. So one side was working, but it was still giving me a warning because the other bulb had just fallen out. So I got that fixed. That's good. So this tomorrow or maybe later tonight, I'll give it a nice sand. Flatten it out a little bit. Might have to add a little more. And there's a little dip right in there. But we'll see. So yeah, I'll get that all fixed. I've got some paint coming. It should be here at some point today or tomorrow. And get that taken care of. And I've got a new BMW badge, a little roundel coming for the back since that one is old. Gonna be replaced. So yeah, replace that. There's that other light right here. The plastic trim cracked on it, so had to use some super glue, but light works good. So I'll be putting that back in at some point. No rush right now. Yeah, there's the update. Thanks for watching Rusty Toolbox. It's been a wild week. Blown fans, shrapnel flying everywhere, steam pouring out of the thing, and lights not working. Still haven't gotten to that rear door handle yet because of all this stuff. But hopefully in the next episode, that'll happen. So anyway, thanks a lot for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet. I'll see you guys next time.